Red Wings Live on Fox Sports Detroit is presented by Arby's. Hi there, everybody. Welcome to our little New Year's Eve party that is Red Wings Live. Allow me to introduce you to Chris Osgood and Darren Elliott. I'm your host, Mickey York. Help yourself to some drinks. The cocktail weenies will be ready shortly. I'm just kidding. There's no cocktail. I just wanted to work weenies into the show some way. Speaking of which, the Wings have played like some of that the last couple of nights, so with the exception, of course, of Pavel Datsyuk. He's been the Wings' only goal scorer the last 2 games and starts tonight with a 4-game point streak. He's the least of the Wings' problems right now, isn't he?
Yeah, he really has been a catalyst offensively. The only guy to score the last 2 games, and again, with Pavel Datsyuk, it's always about him and his hockey sense and getting to the right areas.
Yeah, he didn't have a shot on goal for 2 games, but even when he's not doing that, he's still a guy that can make a difference in a hockey game, always making his wingers better. But really, he's going to catch the attention of the Pittsburgh Penguins tonight, a team that he always seems to play well against. And here on the road trip, very, very good here in Minnesota. This is when he hadn't had a shot on goal for 2 games, but obviously his first shot went in here on Dubnyk, but he just knows how to find the right areas. To me, he was their best player on the road trip, Darren.
And very, very similar. Gets to the middle of the ice, smaller window to fit the puck, no problem for Datsyuk, and this was the reconfigured power play, which we'll see tonight with Datsyuk and Zetterberg on the same power play unit, but again, no problem finding the back of the net for Pavel.
And I think that's a good idea. Whenever Pavel Datsyuk has the puck on the power play, it makes it that much better. I want to see him really featured tonight, having the puck quite a bit and running it through him is going to make it more successful.
Pavel's scoring. He needs some guys now to join him. Our rockin' New Year's Eve celebration just getting started here. Ball drop, schmall drop. We're all about puck drop here on Red Wings Live. And so is John Keating as he joins us now live from Times Square. Happy New Year, John.
It feels like Times Square. It's close enough. Of course, the ball will drop at Campus Martius, not far from where we sit. Happy New Year, Mick. Happy New Year to everybody watching there at home. And it's up there with life's great mysteries, like Blockbuster Video and the BlackBerry and Hootie and the Blowfish. Things are going along fine, and then a few bad choices, and the Wings streak of 13 consecutive games with at least a point seems forever ago, forever away, especially after 2 hard-to-watch back-to-back losses. The upside, and yes, we found a couple, is that they're getting shots and that they're getting chances. They're just not converting, and the power play certainly needs some polish. It was just 1 for 8 in the last couple of games.
Well, it's been clicking at times, and you know, obviously kind of cost us the game, last game against Winnipeg. You know, we get a 4-minute opportunity to kind of put the game in our favor, and they score shorthanded, and then they score 5-on-3 goals. So obviously our specialty teams, it has to be better, obviously. 5-on-3 is tough to defend, but you know, we've been working on it. We worked on it in practice now, and we changed up a couple guys. We managed to get one in the third against Winnipeg, so hopefully we can keep that going.
Well, I think it always eats at you. You know, you want to get back at it, and with yesterday being a day off, you spend a lot of time with it eating at you, thinking about, you know, my biggest thing is more, what can we do to be better? You know, what's happened has happened, but you better learn from it and continue to get better. Otherwise, it'll continue to happen. So, yeah, there were 2 totally different games. I thought the Minnesota game, I just thought we turned too many pucks over to have any success whatsoever. But in the Winnipeg game was much different. Our specialty teams let us down the first period. It was a specialty team period. They let us down, and we were behind the 8 ball, and after that I actually thought we played well. Unfortunately, the puck didn't go in for us, and it went in for them.
Well, off those couple of clunkers, the Wings will look to take advantage of a Penguins team that played last night and lost in a shootout and then had to fly in for the earlier than normal start time tonight. Pittsburgh is just 3-6-1 in their last 10 road games, and the Wings hope they will get a lift tonight by the return of Jonathan Ericsson, who has missed the last 5 games with that upper body injury. He'll be repaired with Danny DeKeyser for tonight's game. Jakob Kindl comes out of the lineup to make room for Big E. So welcome back, Jonathan Ericsson. We do lots of wondering here, such as wondering who will be the McDonald's player of tonight's game. We'll reveal our pick later tonight during Red Wings Live, and it's brought to you by the all-day breakfast menu at McDonald's. Here's what the Red Wings want to do: make the Penguins feel dreadful about the start of 2016, and thus joining many of us who might feel the same way. And they'll have a goalie who's rather familiar in these surroundings. All that coming up. Red Wings Live on New Year's Eve on Fox Sports Detroit is brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. Visit viatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. And by Motor City Casino Hotel. It's our first chance this season to see Sidney Crosby, who hasn't been Crosby-esque, and we can hope that trend continues. He did have a goal last night as the Pens lost in that shootout to Mike Babcock's Maple Leafs, but it was only his 8th goal of the season. He's got 26 points in 35 games through his first 10 seasons. Crosby has always averaged at least a point a game, and that's not happening for him, at least not yet. Pittsburgh is not scoring, and at least right now, they don't have their starting goalie. Marc-Andre Fleury continues to be out, having sustained concussion-like symptoms for the last couple of weeks. And it's a team that's also gone through a coaching change, and the change has been sort of meh. They're only 2-5-1 since they let Mike Johnston go, and with more on where the Penguins are these days. Downstairs we go. Trevor Thompson joins us. T.
Well, Keats, Happy New Year to you and our viewers, and certainly Mike Sullivan is hoping the new year comes in with a much higher note than he's seen with his Penguins so far. On December the 12th, they replaced Mike Johnston with Mike Sullivan. After being 5 games under 500 at the time, they were considered one of the biggest busts in the league at the time. But without the benefit of a training campus and time to implement his systems, Sullivan admits gaining some traction has been a very difficult thing to do.
Well, logistically, it's been a challenge just because there's been so many games in a short period of time. There's been very limited practice time, so we're trying to, we're trying to make subtle changes on the fly. We use the use of film a lot to try to get our guys on the same page and make improvements on a day-to-day basis.
How much does it help having championship caliber experienced players on the roster to help get that done?
Well, it's a big help. I mean, I think we have great players. I told them that. I have a lot of respect for the guys in our room. We've got some accomplished guys. We've got some really good hockey players. Our challenge is to become a really good team, and that's what we're trying to focus on each and every day.
And John, as you mentioned earlier, Sullivan has been without one of his best players, his goaltender, Marc-Andre Fleury, who went out with concussion symptoms the day he took the job. So tonight it's back up in Detroit native Jeff Zatkoff getting the start for the Penguins. He will try to beat the Red Wings in this building in front of family and friends. Once again, that is something he has done before. Back up to you for now.
Yeah, Jeff Zatkoff with 1 start against the Wings. It came back in December of 2013. There were 200 family and friends in attendance that night, and he beat the Wings 4-1 in only his 7th NHL start. And Zatkoff, also a guy with Jeff Blashill experience. They were together at Miami of Ohio for a time. Well, against the pride of Chippewa Valley, the Wings will be trying to find scoring chances, and if one of them matches a hat trick, you can bring a copy of the scoring summary to any Arby's tomorrow for a free small order of curly fries. And yes, we checked, most Arby's are open tomorrow. We've talked about the Penguins goalie tonight. In a moment, we'll dive head first into the intrigue surrounding Detroit's net-minding tandem. Is it about to change? Should it change? The guys in the studio on that next.
Red Wings Live is brought to you by Priority Health, Michigan's healthier approach to healthcare. And by your Detroit area Honda dealers. Visit your Detroit area Honda dealers today or go to DetroitHondaDealers.com. Tonight's Xfinity look around the league looks at the leaders from the 2015 calendar year. No surprise to see many of those names up there, as Alexander Ovechkin won his 3rd consecutive Rocket Richard Trophy last season. And Carey Price led all the major goaltending categories en route to the Hart and Vezina trophies last season. But with Price battling injuries, the Hart and Vezina are up for grabs right now. And at one point this season, you could say the same about the Red Wings goaltending situation. But Peter Mrazek gets the start in net tonight, and given Jimmy Howard's recent struggles, safe to say he has taken over the #1 job, Ozzy?
I would have to think for a while here they're going to run with Peter Mrazek, at least in the near future. They have a road trip out west where they're going to play a lot of games. They're still going to have to use both goalies. They have a ton of games here on the road in a small amount of time, so they need both guys. And prior to Jimmy Howard having his so-called struggles the last 2 games, he was played really well the previous 3, probably the best player for both teams in those games. So I expect Jimmy Howard to bounce back. He's going to work hard in practice, really focus on his game, and be ready for when he plays next.
Well, see, to me, this isn't about Jimmy Howard. It's about Peter Mrazek. Peter Mrazek has been here for a year, and you take a look at the numbers. He came in and has not gone back to Grand Rapids. January 7th, he made the start. You see his calendar numbers on the left, Jimmy Howard's on the right. Stark contrast when you look at the year-long resume for Peter Mrazek. He just hasn't changed his game. It's been at a high level. It's been consistent, and it's been for a long time. That's the big picture. The short term, as you said, I think it's Peter Mrazek's net to give up.
Absolutely, and he's got the moxie, he's got the confidence, and he makes the big saves when he has to. In Minnesota, probably made 9, 10 unbelievable saves to keep them in that hockey game. But he's just got something about him that a lot of other guys don't have. He's got that big save, big game capability. And to me, when he's in there, also his puck playing, Darren, is a huge advantage. But to me, when he's playing, he just gives him that extra spunk, extra spark.
And the other thing you've always said about he just goes in and plays. Even the other night, he goes in, dusts himself off, looks just fine, you know, even though he wasn't supposed to play. So that's a real good quality to have as a goaltender. You don't have to be prepared. You just play when your number's called.
Does it make a difference in the dressing room now that one guy has assumed that #1 role?
I don't think so. The guys really don't worry too much about what the goalies are doing. They're more concerned about what they have to do. Just as long as the goalie's stopping the puck and playing well, they don't care who's in there.
Yeah, I agree.
Was it just a matter of time eventually before Mrazek kind of seized the net?
That's a tough one. Because
it seemed like it was pretty close for a long, long time. Yeah. They were both playing very well. Jimmy Howard played great his previous 3 games. Listen, and he, like I said, he didn't have a lot of puck luck either. Did he not? He didn't play well enough in Winnipeg. There's no doubting that. But he's a veteran goalie. He's 31. He knows how to play. He's been successful. So let's not write Jimmy Howard off because of 2 games or 2 bad goals. You're going to need Jimmy Howard eventually. The same thing that happened to Jimmy Howard could happen to Peter Mrazek at any time. There's lots of hockey left this season.
All right, as you shell your shrimp cocktail and you chill your champagne, you still have time to contemplate those New Year's resolutions. We asked the Wings to advise their teammates, and apparently being nicer to one another wasn't an option. That's coming up for you next.
Happy New Year from the Red Wings and the Fox Sports Detroit.
Happy New Year's, everyone.
Szczęsny Nowy Rok. Fredkin.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year's, guys.
Red Wings and Fox Sports would like to wish you a happy and safe New Year's Eve.
Thank you, Darren Helm, who apparently takes New Year's Eve very, very seriously. Or maybe he was just nervous in that particular instance. Happy New Year's, everybody. The first week of January is known for that span of time where you will meet people that you've never seen before at your gym. Larger people for now, for the most part, and you have to get to know them really quickly because by the second week of January, you will not see them again. Well, resolutions this time of year have always been a thing, and some of the Wings, when prodded, had some suggestions for resolutions that perhaps, you know, a teammate should consider.
You know, I think I would single out Q because
He's not here.
Well, yeah, first of all, he's not here. And I think because every time I drive in the car with him, it's like, you know, it's like we're in NASCAR or something. Like every light, you know, my seatbelt's locking up. I think the tires might be squealing a little bit, but I think he can be a better driver next year.
He's one of those jackrabbit guys, quick starts, quick stops.
Yeah. You know, he's speeding up to the red lights, and then he's blowing guys off the line when it turns green. So, you know, I think his New Year's resolution should be that he should try to, you know, drive a little bit slower, man.
I wouldn't say that. My nickname's Crash for a reason, but I don't think he should be suggesting anything.
Do you think that you could take some tips on your driving ability and take that to heart a little bit?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Maybe not from somebody else, perhaps, would be better?
Well, I'm not saying I'm a good driver, but he's bad.
Is that right?
He's actually a great driver because he just disregards the rules of the road. So I love driving with him. We get there in half the time.
There you go. You got to have thick skin to be in a hockey dressing room. We learned from there that Kyle Quincy is bad for gas mileage. Getting some smiles out of the guys wearing their game faces was a bit of a challenge in light of the past couple of games. The Wings need a win. Pittsburgh coming off that shootout loss to Toronto. Mike Green is a Red Wing, familiar with some of these Penguins from his days playing with the Capitals. And the Red Wings defenseman downstairs on the ice with Trevor Thompson.
John, thank you very much. Nobody on this team has faced the Pittsburgh Penguins more than Mike Green. And Mike, I know they're off to a bad start, but you played against these guys a lot when you were with the Capitals. Remind folks at home just how dangerous they still are.
Yeah, that's the word. They are dangerous. I mean, they've got a lot of talented players. They play passionate. You just got to be careful. I think if we contain those top guys, we'll be fine.
Malkin, Crosby, Kessel, Letang, Kunitz, that power play is dangerous. How important to stay out of the box for you guys tonight?
forward if we do that. I think that, we'll give ourselves a good chance, especially to start off. We want to stay out of the box, play some 5-on-5 hockey. We'll set ourselves up for the next 2 periods. So we've done a good job of that in the past. We just got to make sure we do it.
You're trying to bounce back from 2 subpar performances. What's the #1 key for your team early on tonight?
Well, I think to come out of the gate strong. I mean, create some energy right away, get pucks deep behind their defensemen. I think that we've created a lot of offense when we do that, and if we can get pucks to the net, that's never a bad thing. So
thanks for this, Mike, and good luck tonight.
Thank you.
There goes Mike Green. He is looking to help the Red Wings snap this 2-game skid against a vulnerable Penguins team here tonight. Back up to you, John.
All right, Trev, thanks. The Wings have hosted Pittsburgh on New Year's Eve 3 times in the past. They are 1-1-1 in those games. But the last time they met on New Year's Eve, way back in 1984. A memory lane of some previous New Year's Eves is strolled next. Red Wings Live on Fox Sports Detroit is brought to you by DotAuto.com, home of Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Ford, Toyota, and Scion. On this New Year's Eve, you'll see the beads, but it's all about the headgear, the hats, the dealy boppers, the glasses that remind you it's about to be 2016. Oh, it's a ready crowd. Well, it goes back to the 1950s when the world was viewed in black and white and was a far different place. I mean, perish the thought, but they didn't even have cable television back then. Marriages and winters seemed to last longer back in the day. That was the beginning of the Red Wings tradition of playing a home game on New Year's Eve. We used to call it Al Sabatka's Rockin' Eve around here, but there are few ways better of preparing to ring in the new year than what we'll see here at the Joe tonight. Here at Joe Louis Arena, a crowd that has gathered and will be filled for the New Year's Eve holiday, and also a hockey game that we think is going to be really, really good.
It's a good feeling getting 3 goals, and it's an even better feeling being in first place.
All he had to do was get it up under the bar, and he did. And the Wings lead for the first time tonight.
To Fedorov. Pick off toward the net. Off to Shanahan. Quick shot. Scores! A power play goal, and it's 5-1. The Blues outshoot the Red Wings, but the Red Wings win it. Happy New Year, everybody. Cleared ahead to center. Being hooked. Got Zetterberg with him. Zetterberg scores! Game winner! 6-5 Red Wings! Happy New Year! Pulled out Joe Louis Arena, urging on the Wings to get the equalizer here. Sim tries to get it out. Rafalski pulled it back. To Helm. Seabee scores! Tatar! First NHL goal! Blues play it back to the line to Koliakovo. A shot! Howard stopped it and stopped. O'Shea on the rebound. D'Agostini, a look for the stick. He's got the puck ready. Oh, what a save! A stretching marvelous stop by Jimmy Howard. Wrap around try there. Yes. Score! Yes. Career goal number 50 for Darren Helm. Getting on that puck is Darren Helm. Helm cutting in. He's held. Oh. Scores!
What a beauty.
2-goal night.
Let the dogs out. She's over.
And to Darren Helm, we say Happy New Year. Tonight is his 400th NHL game. Since 1992, the Wings are 12-2-1 with 2 ties on New Year's Eve. There were some games that were missed because of participation in the Winter Classic and the lockouts as well. But the party is on here at the Joe. It's always on back in the studio where Darren and Mick and Ozzy rejoin us now, guys.
All right, John, yeah, thank you. Hockey on New Year's Eve in Detroit is a tradition we're happy to be a small part of. Ozzy, for you, this game has been a huge part of your career.
It was a
favorite New Year's memory?
It was really fun to play. Festive atmosphere down at Joe Louis all the time. But on New Year's Eve, just a little more exciting. Guys really like playing in this game, and when it's over, have a lot of fun after with a big win.
Lots of tradition.
Yep.
It's been a tradition now at the Joe for a long time now.
All right, Penguins in town tonight. It's always been a good rivalry. They've scored the 3rd fewest goals in the league, yet they still possess a ton of firepower. What's been going on with this hockey team this year?
Just can't find the right chemistry, but they can. Power play especially.
All right, with that, time to crank up those noisemakers and pass the punch or deliver a punch or two. It is hockey after all. The Wings and Penguins, a New Year's Eve tradition next on Fox Sports.